This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is December 21st, 2023. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host Luke Sylvia, fresh off his first ever post-game live. Luke.
Listen, man, when I tell you that Kevin deserves just like an incredible amount of money for doing that after every single game, like just ridiculous. Like back up the Brinks truck for that guy. Because listen, you hit start live or whatever the button is to go live on YouTube, and dude, all of a sudden everything just goes away from your mind. Right after you say, "What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sixth Man Show post-game live." And then at that point, it's a mad dash to keep up with the chat. And it was after a loss. Let's be honest. There wasn't that many people that were watching this concurrently as like after a win. And I'm thankful, honestly. I couldn't keep up. And then I was coming through my AirPods, apparently. I wasn't coming through this beautiful microphone. I'm sure you could hear.
You were talking into the mic the whole time. I was like, you ain't using that, buddy.
I was rocking the mic that wasn't being rocked. So, yeah, listen. That was, kudos to producer Kevin. The guy is a monster for being able to do all of that, all the elements. I've talked about it before. I knew it was hard. But then when you actually do it, it's like, oh, this is like 30 times harder than what I was telling people. So, yes, I did that. I appreciate those of you guys that joined. Appreciate those of you guys because the audio will be up as an episode per usual, unfortunately, for my sake. And yeah, so I appreciate you guys supporting, tuning in. The Orlando Magic, there's not much. I don't hate a lot of things, Jonathan. I don't hate a lot of things. I'm indifferent about a lot of things. Very. I cannot stand when you and I hop on here, you, me, and producer Kevin hopped on here on Sunday night to record an episode. And then knowing I've got 3 full days after that point to wait until the Magic tip off again. All right. I wake up this morning, Jonathan. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a great day. We find out what the arena is going to be called. The Magic finally play basketball after having 3 full days basically off. This is going to be a great day. We find out Kia Center, spoiler alert, right? We'll talk about that. And then we get to this game tonight, and it's like by the second quarter, I was hoping that we had another 2 full days, 3 full days until I had to watch this team play again. But no, back at it again tonight as you guys are listening to this in Milwaukee. That's what I hate the most. Waiting just for the team to crap the bed. And no Jimmy Butler. It's just, the whole thing pisses me off.
Yeah, it's happening like a lot, unfortunately, recently. Where like the Magic come off of, a good amount of rest and just lay an egg. So they've now played 6 games in the last 14 days, the Magic have. And they are 2-4 in those 6 games. They were off from Monday, December 11th to Friday, December 15th, the 17-point loss. Well, one of the 17-point losses in Boston. And then had Monday, Tuesday off, and had the 9-point loss to the Miami Heat tonight, which, of course, we'll talk about in great detail in just a couple of minutes. Before we do that, I want to let you know there was an episode that we filmed of the Sixth Fan Show outside of remember like the Okiki to Okeke thing and how badly I struggle with that?
Yeah.
Amway to Kia is going to be that a million times worse. So outside of the Kia Center tonight, which again, we will also talk about in a minute here. But Ben was outside Kia Center tonight filming our newest episode of the Sixth Fan Show. So if you're listening to this podcast, there's a pretty good chance that episode is up now. You can go ahead and watch that. And then the next episode of the Sixth Fan Show is going to be recorded on next Friday, December 29th, when the Magic take on the Knicks at home. So be on the lookout for that. Right now, we're in the middle of our 6 days of Christmas, where we're doing some giveaways. Just want to be generous to the folks that support us year round and just, be in the holiday spirit and give some stuff away. So the last couple of days, we've given away some Jam Hot Chicken gift cards. We've given away some Fanatics gift cards. We're working on a really cool giveaway with Rockham. We're going to be giving away some Nikola Vucevic autographed shoes. Let's do that tomorrow, Luke. What's tomorrow? Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
As you're listening to this, we're going to be giving away a pair of signed Nikola Vucevic. Are they game worn?
I am pretty positive these things are clod hoppers. I don't know, but these things are.
I'm sorry. They're what?
They are clod hoppers.
What the hell is a clod hopper?
Listen, I know you're asking me what a clod hopper is, but by me saying it, you know exactly what a clod hopper is.
No, brother. Context. I promise you, I don't. They're massive. Is that what?
Let's clod hopper, a large, heavy shoe. So there you go.
Hand to God, I have never heard that phrase before in my life. But
listen,
I
if you
appreciate
learn nothing
you
else,
for putting me onto that.
If you learn nothing else, I've said it maybe twice in my probably 10 years of knowing the word. So it's not very. But when it happens,
we're giving away an autographed for sure, possibly game worn clod hoppers of Nikola Vucevic. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna do that on our Twitter. Last couple of days, we've been doing like one Twitter, one Instagram giveaway. But the majority of our listeners and followers are on Twitter. So if you're interested in getting into that giveaway and you don't have a Twitter, like this is your reason to make a Twitter and follow us.
And listen, don't roast us for not knowing if they're game worn, all right? You can't do that because this is a free giveaway. It's his autograph on these large clod hoppers, all right? So listen, just listen. They're cool. They're massive. Guarantee they'll be the biggest shoes around your closet. That's for sure.
Have you given them the old sniff test?
No.
That's how you can tell.
I don't want to do that.
All right. Well, if you win they're definitely autographed. If you win the autographed Nikola Vucevic shoe, you can give it the sniff test if you want. If you want to confirm or deny that they are, worn. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we're in the middle of our 6 days of Christmas here. So we're gonna wrap. The final day will be Christmas Eve. So be on the lookout on our social media accounts as we continue to do giveaways. We're going to give away some, Magic tickets and all that kind of good stuff. So be on the lookout for that. Let's get into the state of the Magic so far this week, Luke. The Magic are 0-1 with the loss on Wednesday night to Miami. They currently sit 4th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 16-10. They're 4 games back of Boston, 3.5 games back of Milwaukee, 2.5 games back of Philly. They're a half game up on New York. They're 1 game up on Cleveland and Miami, 2 games up on Indiana, 3.5 games up on Brooklyn, and 5 games up on Atlanta. Luke, each time we go through the state of the Magic, we talk about where the Magic are in the standings, who they're behind, who they're above. And recently, they're getting further behind those teams at the top, and they're getting closer and closer to those teams that are below us. Just a half game up on New York now. You're only 1 game up on Cleveland and Miami, 2 games up on Indiana. And it's not time to hit the panic button, I think, Luke, because the Magic are still 6 games above 500, almost at the end of the year. But things are not great as of late. I'll put it that way. You've lost now 4 of your last 6, and the magic, the vibes, the joy that we saw these guys playing with during that 9-game winning streak, we haven't seen that now in close to 2 weeks.
Will I be upset if this team wins the amount of games that I predicted at this point, at this juncture in the season? I, before the season, predicted 42 wins. I believe you predicted 41. At this point,
I think I said 43. I was a little bit more optimistic.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah. So, but the point remains, right? Like, am I disappointed at that point for the Magic to, if they were to win 42, like my prediction at that point? The feeling that I feel tonight, right? Like the recency bias of like, oh no, we suck again. Like, we definitely don't. At least I don't think so. But if this team wins 42 games, I'm still fine. Like I'm still good. During that 9-game win streak, if you're like, hey, if this team wins 42, are you upset? Then at that point, I'd be like, yeah. But it's all recency bias. This is a reality. Boston smacks us up and down. The reality check there was what? You're not a top 1, 2, or 3 team in the East. Shocker. For those of you who thought so. Then you lose to the Jimmy Butler-less Miami Heat. Another reality check. The reality check is this team's young. This team's going to lose some stupid games. They're going to lose some stupid games. And you know what? Because this team is young, and a lot of the time you can't use logic when you're evaluating these young teams when it comes to when are they going to predicting a wins and losses. They're probably going to roll into Milwaukee tomorrow and win. And it's going to make no sense. But here's the thing. You go in tomorrow, or tonight you're listening to this, you go into Milwaukee and you win that game. All of a sudden, the feeling is what? It's forgiven. You lost to the Heat last night? Doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you beat the Bucks tonight, who are one of the best teams in the East. So, do I think they beat the Bucks? I don't think so. But if they do, right, it's just all about what's happened. What have you done for me lately? And we're going to find out. But listen, it's so hard to not be like, oh, the sky is falling, because that's what it feels like. But it's just not reality. And the 9-game win streak wasn't reality either. So you just got to find that middle ground. I'm not hitting a panic button. In the moment, yes, I'm pissed at the team right now. There's no way around it. I'm pissed that I did a post-game live and then hopped on here. I'm having to record an episode about this team and how badly they played in the newly named Kia Center. Tonight could have gone a lot better.
We've gotten some questions just about the Magic and the rest as of late. I'm looking at the layoff that they had between Brooklyn and Cleveland between December 2nd and December 3rd when they had 3 days off. They lose that game to Cleveland. They've got 3 days off between December 11th and December 15th. You lose that game to Boston. They had 2 days off between December 17th and December 20th. You lose that game to Miami. I don't know what it is about this team. It's they have a couple of days off and they just completely lose focus. They come out flat, just like they did tonight against Miami. And just the energy is not there. They're not able to sustain that. And I think, will I be disappointed if we end up a 42-win team at this point? Frankly, I will, because we've seen the potential that this team and the level that this team can play at. Was the 9-game win streak sustainable? It never was. We said that the entire time. But if you go back and look at what they were doing, they were playing Magic basketball. It wasn't like they're shooting 40% from three over this 9-game stretch. They weren't. They were still shooting 35, 36% from behind the arc. They were turning the ball over a lot still, but they were defending at an incredibly high level, first, second, third, in defensive rating during that time. And they were relatively efficient, in scoring in the paint and doing the things that they needed to do to make those games close. But they were shooting, at 36%, which is, just around, league average. And you look at these games recently, I mean, tonight, just absolutely atrocious. What was it here? Let me pull up the entire game. Another 25% night from behind the arc against the Miami Heat. You're not going to win games like that, let alone with Miami shooting 51% from behind the arc. I know we'll talk more about that game, but I just wanted to bring up the fact that look, the 9-game winning streak was incredible. Now you're coming back down to earth and you're really about to be in the mix again. It was great sitting at 2 and you're a couple games up on Milwaukee and you're 4 and 5 games up on Cleveland or Miami and you're 8 games up in Atlanta, but you're coming back down to earth and you're about to be really in the mix where every single night these games are going to count. You're going to be moving up and down in the standings. Can't keep taking these games lightly and coming in flat. Right now, the Magic are 18th in the NBA on the season in offensive rating with a rating of 113.11. They're now 6th in the NBA in defensive rating with a rating of 110.2, and they're falling to 10th in net rating with a net rating of 2.9. Looking at the injury report, Markelle Fultz has missed the last 18 games now with left knee tendonitis. Joe Ingles has missed the last couple of games with an ankle sprain. Wendell Carter Jr. returned to the starting lineup Wednesday night after missing the last 20 games with a fractured third metacarpal in his left hand. As we talk more about the Heat game, we'll talk about how we thought Wendell looked. And Luke, Wednesday morning, the Magic announced, we've known now for a few months that the Magic were going to be changing the name of the arena away from Amway. They're going to have a new sponsor. And a couple of days ago, we heard that Wednesday morning this announcement was going to come. And, I was hoping the Magic would find a way to like do this in the middle of the night and then like cover it up and have this big unveiling Wednesday morning. They didn't do that. Like 8:30 or even before that, like 8 o'clock, people are taking pictures of the new now Kia Center and posting, photos and videos to social media, which to me, I was looking forward to the suspense of, finding this out. We had heard rumors, not from anyone in the organization, but like people around town just seemed to kind of have an idea that it was going to be the Kia Center. And when you think about it, it makes sense. The Magic of one of their sponsors has been Kia for a long time. The Orlando Magic Pod Squad used to be presented by Kia, so it makes sense. But Luke, what do you think of the Kia Center and like the new look of the Kia Center? RIP Amway.
First of all, maybe not a popular opinion, but I've been a big fan of what Kia's done in the last few years. The rebranding, the new logo. I don't hate it at all. I kind of like it. It's way better than the old one. It was very bland. The old one was. So it's like kind of a sleeker new logo. I was a big fan of that change. The vehicles all of a sudden are just like seem very, I don't know if they are higher quality. Like I know that Lauren, sorry, no offense if your name's Laura. Lauren had a Kia Forte and it just kind of like the inside, like the material kind of peeled a little bit and it just like was very cheaply made. It felt like, but that was like a 2013, 2012. But now they got like the Kia Telluride, super nice.
Quick
the Kia Carnival.
Kia fact, owned by the same company as Hyundai.
Yes.
And yeah. I've had my fair share of Hyundais, and I've had a lot of issues with like cheap interior material in the past.
Same. Right. Yeah. So Kia Hyundai Financial or something like that with insurance. Yeah, that's the only reason I know that. But they've just like the Kia Carnival is like a spaceship of a van, and it's super nice. My brother and sister-in-law have one, and I love it. But I don't hate it. I think there's a lot of people out there that are trashing it. I feel like people love to trash just to trash. Which, hey guys, newsflash, doesn't make you cool just to hate up in very well known things, popular things. So. I don't hate it at all. Like I said, I'm a fan of the logo. I'm a fan of how the new cars look. Can't speak to the material. I have no idea, but Kia's great for all I know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't really care. Like right. One thing I didn't want it to be Disney. I know there were a lot of people that like pushed back against that, and some people were like, "You don't want it to be Disney. What are you, pro multi-level marketing company pyramid scheme Amway?" Like no, like I was never like pro Amway or whatever. It's just like I just didn't want one other thing for us to be Disney. Look at this Mickey Mouse team. Like quite literally at this point, we would have been the Mickey Mouse team. Like so, I didn't want to do the Disney thing. But no, Kia Center is fine. I like the branding. I understand the issue people have with the Kia logo because it looks like it says KN since they've updated the logo. Obviously, the old logo, much more plain, easier to read. But I like the graphics that they put on like the windows of Amway. What I'm looking most forward to is them replacing like the big major Amway Center signage with the Kia Center signage. Obviously, they took down all the Amway Center stuff last week. I'm looking forward to see how that looks because if they do it and it's like lit up in white, I know I hate sometimes on like the minimalist trend that is happening in marketing and branding and everything like that. But I think that will look really clean. Just the big white like Kia Center logo on the side of the building, all lit up at night. And the new, video board, now it says Kia Center instead of Amway Center. So I like it. It makes sense. Two organizations who have been partnering together for a long time now. I think I think Alex Martin said tonight on the broadcast, it's like 15 years they've been partnering with Kia. So it makes sense. Kia Center, it's not a bad name. It could be much, much worse. It could be like the Smoothie King, arena or whatever they have in New Orleans. I'll take Kia over that all day.
Yeah, listen, it's a safe name. Very safe. I'm with you with the Disney thing. I also am not with there was a lot of people on social media today that were like, we're just going to call it the O-Arena. No, that was gone. That's gone. It was great times, but it's gone. You can't revive it. And I saw a lot of like, we should just call it Magic Kingdom. And I'm like, that's not confusing at all. All right? Like that feels confusing to me. I don't love that. Again, leaning more into the Disney thing. Like, I am with you when it comes to the magic should lean into like the magical things or like whatever, right? To an extent.
Not necessarily Disney.
Don't go fully right, exactly. Not necessarily Disney, right? You're talking like wizards and whatever else, right? So like, yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't want to go full into the Disney thing. If the Magic have any success, it's going to be, for whatever it means. It's a Mickey Mouse team, right? Mickey Mouse run. I can already see it. Like talking about that 9-game win streak. I had a buddy tell me today, like it should have been called the Magic Kingdom or sponsored by Disney. And I was like, no, because I know you're not a Magic fan. And when we have success, you're going to call it like a Mickey Mouse run or something. I know, yeah, you're saying that and you think it would be cool, but you would just use it to roast us. I don't want that. It's good enough. Disney on the jersey patch suffices.
How long, if Nike and the NBA keep up these city jerseys, how long until we just get like a straight Mickey Mouse jersey? Like, you already have the Disney patch. I just feel like at some point, like, you run out of ideas and then, Orlando, I mean, Mickey Mouse is right there. Why don't we just make a Mickey Mouse jersey?
That would be.
I don't want that to happen, but
and you know what? It would be the Sorcerer Mickey, and they'd be like, "This is awesome."
That might be kind of fire, bro.
Here we go.
If it's the the Fantasia 2000 or whatever that movie was, like the blue and white. I mean, it's almost the Stars jersey.
All right. That all of a sudden, the top of this topic, you were anti. Now all of a sudden, we're getting there.
We're getting Fantasia
there. Phantasmic? Is that what it is?
No, isn't it Fantasia?
I don't know. There's something at Disney called Phantasmic, and it's
no, I know what you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Fantasia. Dude, how do I remember that? I watched that like once in like second grade in like a music class. Whatever. All right, folks. But yeah, so Kia Center. I'm fine with it, honestly.
Yeah. You know what I love, Jonathan? We're 23 minutes in. We haven't talked about this Heat game, but nobody cares because the game was trash.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. We'll get there eventually, guys.
Well, we're gonna get there right now, as a matter of fact. I mean, that's where we're
guys.
That's where we're headed right now. The 115-106 loss, the first ever Kia Center game. The final score doesn't really mirror the result, in my opinion. Like, this was a Magic. Like, the Magic were blown out in this game, pretty much. You really have to look no forward than the second quarter, where the Magic let the Heat shoot 72% from behind the arc, 66% from 72% from the floor, 66% from behind the arc, and the Magic shot 47% from the floor and 25% behind the arc. Were outscored 43-26 in the second quarter and gave the Miami Heat a 68-50 halftime lead. Like, that run that they went on at the second half of the second quarter, the Magic were just never really able to recover from that. But the Magic, like, right off the bat, just like really didn't look all that engaged. Paolo and Franz, especially, it was a rough shooting night for those guys. Wendell Carter Jr. was inserted back into the starting lineup. And I guess we can start there talking about Wendell and how he looked. I didn't feel like he looked great, but by no means am I like blaming this game on like, oh, wow, look, see, this is why you don't bring Wendell back and put him into the starting lineup. Like, Goga was better tonight, but Wendell hasn't played in, a month plus, almost 2 months, missed 20 games. What's going on with the hand? Like, it's wrapped, but like it still looks crazy swollen. I'm really confused by what is happening there.
I have no idea. I genuinely don't know. As I've said many times, I'm not a doctor. I don't even look into stuff really as far as injuries go. I just, when they come back, they come back. But yeah, even to me, it was like, wow, that looks kind of wild. So who knows? What I will say though about Wendell, yes, Goga had 2 blocks, but Wendell to me played better defensively on Bam than Goga did. Like, Wendell still showed value tonight, despite not shooting in his first stint. Very clearly, like they're not making him a focal point. They're not making him the hub really off the bat. He doesn't shoot, and then down the stretch, and he gets 6 rebounds, but in garbage times, really when he started to shine, because it was like him against other scrubs. It's like other scrubs. That was disrespectful against scrubs. Wendell's not a scrub.
Wow, I didn't even catch the other. Yeah, you didn't mean to say that.
I did not. Everybody knows I love Wendell Carter Jr., Wendaddy, affectionately known as. So, yeah, I saw a lot of that tonight, unfortunately, on social media. I was very disappointed. I should expect it, but I saw a lot of, stupid things, right? Like you see, dumb things that people are exaggerating. Wendell's a bum or, whatever. I love Wendell Carter Jr. I always will. And I don't know what he could do at this point for me to not. But I do. Listen, he was inserted into the starting lineup. It's very clear he is retaining his position. We've heard it. There's been speculation. Well, can you start him? Yeah, because as we've heard, who did we have? Did we have someone on the show recently, Jonathan, that was talking? Was it JT? I think it was Jeff Turner talking about the unspoken rule is that a starter can't lose their starting spot by way of injury. The injured come back, you're not going to lose your starting spot. You were the starter for a reason, no matter how good your substitute played for you. Goga played great. He was serviceable. But Wendell Carter Jr., he shot a 3 tonight, which was great with that hand. Makes one of them. There's a silver lining with that. So, not hitting a panic button on him. That's for sure. I thought it was interesting he played 23 minutes, regardless of it being most of it and a lot of it in garbage time. Just for the sake of conditioning, I'm surprised. And for the sake of a back-to-back coming up. Next thing to look at, does he play? Does he play tomorrow? If he does, I think he does. And if he does, is it a kind of 12 to 15 minute? And Dell said essentially Mose wants him to play till exhaustion. Don't hold back. Don't try to pace yourself. Play how you normally would play. And when you need to come out, you need to come out. So
I think the biggest and most frustrating part of this game was this isn't a team that has a ton of size in the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo is really the only big that they played tonight. And the Magic, although I think it was 54 points in the paint, which is just 1.5. I think they're averaging 55.5 points in the paint per game this year. Mm-hmm. This wasn't a game where you match your season average, right? This is a game where you need to exceed that if you're really going to put pressure on Miami. And Miami, they knocked down some tough threes, and I give them credit. But also, we're again running into the issue of these guys just running to the corners wide open. Haywood Highsmith tonight, 4 of 9 from behind the arc, really hurt the Magic. Josh Richardson as well. Tyler Hero, he knocked down some really tough ones tonight. But the Magic, 9 for 36 from behind the arc, 25%. It's just quite honestly, it's not good enough. Miami's entire strategy tonight was keep the Magic out of the paint, give them wide open threes. If they make those and they beat us, then so be it. There was an instance tonight where Paolo Banchero in the second half had a run at the rim, and sure, it would have been a little bit contested, but ends up throwing it out to Franz for a 3. I'm like, what are we doing here? There was a span in that second half where the Magic settled for 3 straight threes with 8 or 9 seconds left on the shot clock. It's guys, we don't need to do this. This is exactly what Miami wants you to do. So it's sort of twofold. this is what they're giving you. You need to make them pay for it. You need to knock down some shots. 25% as a collective unit from behind the arc is atrocious. And on the other side of that, it's like you guys just got to forget it and get to the rim and do what you guys do. This team thrives on points in the paint, getting to the free throw line. 19 free throws tonight. Again, right around the average, it's good, but the Magic needed to exceed that tonight. And they were just completely content the entire night, just settling for threes. Like, oh, well, we've missed the last 6, so this one's definitely going to go in. And then it didn't. I think the Magic started like 1 of 10 or 1 of 11 from behind the arc. And then, again, when the Heat got going in that second quarter, just blew the game wide open. Everywhere else, the Magic did relatively good job. Won the rebounding battle. And this one, 49-39. Even though you shoot way worse than Miami. 25 assists to the Magic, 29 assists. Like, it wasn't like they just completely outplayed us the entire night. Just shots were going in, ours weren't great defensively. The effort wasn't totally there. But this is a game where you just make a few threes that you should make. This is a relatively close game. We can't have Gary Harris 0 of 2 from behind the arc. Jalen 1 of 5. Paolo 0 of 3. Franz 0 of 4. I mean, Caleb has one job when he goes out there, and he realizes what his job is, and he's like, hey, I'm going to do that. 3 of 10 from behind the arc, 30%. Not great. That kid's still shooting over 40% for the year. But, man, we just got to knock down some threes. The regression from Franz from behind the arc, I'm officially concerned. Sure, he could go on a great stretch and I could feel completely different. But first 2 years in the league, 35% from the arc. Second year, 36% from behind the arc. This year, he's shooting 29% from behind the arc. 3.4 attempts the first year, 4.5 last year, 4.9 this year. So not a ton more volume, but the efficiency has just dropped off of a cliff. Started the year really well, had a pretty good stretch for a couple of weeks, and recently has just been really bad. He's talked about, he knows that the arc is an issue. A couple games ago, he hits a 3, and then he's like, they call it tickling the sky or whatever it is with him. He ain't tickling the sky right now.
Yeah, it's taking on the ground.
It's just a line drive that he's shooting at the rim right now. I don't know if it's like legs. I don't know what's going on, but Dirk Nowitzki used to talk about this because Dirk, I don't know if you remember, had one of the highest arcs of all time. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Sport Science, as a matter of fact, that segment that ESPN used to do. Mm-hmm. When you have a higher arc, you have more surface area of the rim and the net when the ball is on its downward trajectory to work with. So if you're a couple inches off here, a couple inches there, you have all that surface area to work with there. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you can fit 2 basketballs through the rim at the exact same time if they're going straight down. You shoot that on a line drive, you've got to be absolutely perfect every single time for that to go in. Yeah. And that's why some of the better shooters you see, Steph Curry, these are guys with high arc because, again, you got more surface area to deal with. Your margin of error is much bigger at that point. It doesn't have to drop in the same spot every time to go through the net. But, man, Franz and Paolo tonight were just what did I say after the game? If I sit here and do some quick math, they were 7 of 26 from the floor. Quite frankly, we just need our best guys to be better. You're not making shots from behind the arc and those guys aren't having efficient scoring nights. You're almost never going to have a chance to win a game.
I haven't done an analyzation of Franz Wagner's shot, but if I'm serving by memory here, he doesn't jump much. There's very little jump to my memory.
They call that lift, I believe.
Yes, lift. You're absolutely right. I heard somebody talk about that recently, some shooter. Anyway, yes, he doesn't have much lift when he's shooting, and it doesn't seem like when he extends to shoot. If on YouTube you're getting the full representation here, he's not going like elevate even his arm. Like it feels like he's kind of even short arming to the point where like if you don't have a lot of lift and that your arm's not going too far up, naturally you're just line driving this thing at the rim. And that's what we've seen a lot of. So it is weird. I don't know. I'm gonna need to like go look at last year, like his highlights, and just find some 3-point shooting clips.
It's always been flat.
But this flat, like
well,
has it been
I
this
think
flat?
we're noticing it more because the percentage have been so bad.
Because he's not been as accurate,
pretty sure,
I guess is what that comes down to.
I'm pretty sure the his arc has always been the same, but we're having more of an issue with it because it's going in a lot less.
Yeah. So what is maybe that's just like you said, if you have a ton of arc on your shot, you have, more margin, basically, is what it sounds like. So for him, he's just got to be perfect when he shoots as far as accuracy at the rim, right angle. Because also, if you're going straight up with it, arc, ball's coming down, and if it's coming down from a high arc, then it's got the opportunity to also get friendly bounces. But then also, he's just not got enough like power on his shot either. It's like there's not enough legs. I don't know. Guy needs more lift. That's my professional opinion. How about that?
There you go.
Guy needs more lift.
When you're not getting the ball up and you're not like elevating, if you have even a little bit less power, that's when we're seeing a lot of these just short. I mean, that's really always been the issue with Franz. Like they're usually online. When he misses, they're almost always short. Like you don't see him missing long a lot. And a lot of times it's like hitting that rim and it's just dropping right in the defender's hands.
I'm worried. The last thing I'll say about this, I am concerned that he's not going to want to overhaul his shot during the season. I don't know if it's going to be a slight tweak or if it is going to be like, hey, you got to change your base. Got to change everything else with it. I don't know. But I am
they're
concerned
clearly
that's
working on it with him. Like that's an active thing. That's where the tickle the sky thing came from, because this is something they're actively working on with him.
He needs to get the tickling.
It's just the reps. I just think he needs the reps, and it's hard to get that in the flow of an NBA season. Like they've had a lot of practice time recently with all these days off. That's the concerning thing. Like the defense, we'll talk about it. Like if you just look at the raw numbers over the course of the last 10 games, the defense, like, oh, it's not that bad. You do a little bit of digging, and it is atrocious. So that's a concern. Like, Franz aside, let's talk about some chicken, because I got some stuff I got to talk about. Let's talk about some chicken.
Magic related things or chicken related things?
No, I've got some magic related things. Okay. I wish it was chicken related.
Well, I've got some chicken related things to talk about, and that is our good friends over at Jam Hot Chicken. Listen, Jam Hot Chicken, Winter Park. You're never going to find anything else like it. I'm just going to shoot straight with you. I think I'm going to have to start budgeting for my trips to Orlando. I think I'm going to have to start budgeting so that I make sure that I'm not killing the old bank account by just draining it on Jam Hot Chicken. But it's going to have to happen. Like I've just got to, I'll give up subscriptions if I have to make it happen. All right. Located at 400 West New England Avenue, Suite 13, Hannibal Square. Had it again recently. It was incredible. And like Jonathan said, we gave away some gift cards there for our 6 days of Christmas giveaway. So if you got that, make sure you're utilizing it. That's for sure. Jam Hot Chicken, man. Go check them out. JamHotChickenFL.com. Access the menu, online ordering. They even have their music playlists. Some of their favorites, some hip hop stuff going on there. Really great stuff that they're doing over there. Go visit them. Tell them we sent you.
Today's episode is also brought by Tom Gadsden. You may be asking, who is Tom Gadsden and how can I be like Tom Gadsden? Tom Gadsden is our newest patron who joined a couple of days ago at our elite tier level. What's a Patreon or a patron? A patron is a member of our Patreon, somebody that helps financially support the Six Man Show. So if you're a new listener or you've been listening for some time, you like what you hear, you like the content that we put out, and you want to be a part of it, and you want to receive some awesome benefits, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/the Six Man Show, where even if you just want to, $2 a month, that's our lowest membership level there. If you just want to help support the show, you can do that. We have other tiers of benefits Like our elite tier, one of our benefits there is you get discounts off of Orlando Magic home games, and that's $15 a month. So for $15 a month, you get discounted Orlando Magic home game tickets. You go to a few games a year using our discount code, and that membership to our Patreon is paying for itself, along with all the other benefits you get, like access to our Discord channel and monthly Zoom calls with us. So a big shout out to Tom Gadsden. Anytime we have new patrons, we give them a very special shout out. And then we shout out our Hall of Fame and Elite tier patrons each and every episode. So I'm going to go ahead and start by shouting out the Court Cousins, best friend of the podcast, Drew Gooden, Armin, Carson Tulo, Jonathan Borges, normal Magic player history, Gabe Gaines, Wiffle, Michael Martin, Jamel Miller, Michael Salapong, Donkey Punch Dave, Paolo and Francis Warmth, Pierre A. Dylan Holden, Mr. Mikey, Eduardo Sanchez, Danimal, Dutto 15, Bobby Skinner, Goody 93, Teddy Sylvia, Eric Lopez, Fuchsia, Bill Fulton, Edmund Lagone, Jose Esquilin, Kayla Pete, Cannibalism, Time, Mr. TV, ESPN Really Sucks, Gear 95 Shred, Junior Bruce, Half Freakin, Shahin 177, Bobby the Don, Himlo, Ben Himro, R Improv 221, Ray Pastrana, Magic Kid 714, Spanking Season, Soft Taco, Victor Cologne, Irish Magic Mike, Austin Lampy, Random Hustle, Eddie House's Burner, Maria, Keith Wallace, Fritz, Currency Kev, Bruv Sal, Kason Green, Santi Leon, Kane Eckler, The Distract, Ahmad Timsa, Chansu, and our newest patron again, Tom Gadsden. A big thank you to all of our patrons. You can find us at patreon.com/The6Man Show. Luke, I alluded to having some more points here, some more things to talk about, some issues the Magic are having. Luke, over the course of the last 10 games, this is going back to that Charlotte game after the big win, over Boston on Black Friday. So going back to that Charlotte game, looking at the last 10 games, again, if you look at the surface, it doesn't look that bad. The Magic are 19th in offensive rating, which isn't great. It's a little bit below where we are in the season, but still, if the Magic are 19th in offensive rating and really, really good defensively, you're probably pretty happy with that. You're probably okay. Looking at the defense, obviously we know that it's slipped, but the last 10 games, the Magic are 7th in defensive rating. And when I looked at this, Luke, I said, that doesn't make sense. It feels like the Magic have been so bad defensively over the last couple of weeks. How are they still 7th? Luke, the Magic played Detroit on Friday, December 8th. Detroit scored 91 points. The game before that, they lost 121 to 111, when Cleveland was going absolutely crazy. They were hitting everything, right? Well, if you remember that game after the Pistons game, that next Monday, December 11th, that's where the pendulum kind of swung the other way for the Cavs. And in that third quarter, we're like, yes, please keep shooting threes, because they couldn't make anything, right? So in that game, they held the Cavs to 94 points. So you had a 91-point performance from the Pistons and a 94-point performance versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you go in and you take away that 2-game stretch, right? If you take away those 2 games, the last 3 games, Miami, Boston, Magic are 23rd in defensive rating. November 26th through December 6th, which was starting with that Charlotte game and ending with that first Cleveland game, the Magic are 23rd in defensive rating. So if you take away those outlier games where you played Detroit, the absolute worst team in the NBA, historically, right now, one of the worst teams of all time, and you take away that super cold shooting performance from the Cleveland Cavaliers, for the majority of the last 10 games, the Magic have been a bottom 7, bottom 8 defense in the league. They have been absolutely atrocious the last 10 games, except those 2 games where they were sort of left off the hook by a historically bad Pistons team and a cold shooting Cleveland Cavaliers team. They've had plenty of time off now to rest, to heal some of those bruises and little knick-knack injuries. And they've had plenty of time to practice and get the defense dialed back in. The defense started to slip a little bit, against Charlotte and against Washington. And people told me, oh, it's because we don't have Jonathan Isaac. Or, oh, it's because we don't have Jalen Suggs. Well, guess what? We've had Jalen Suggs back. We've had Jonathan Isaac back. Defense is still terrible for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. I legitimately don't know what is going on. like something had to happen for the Magic to sort of come back to the mean, right? Like back to where they should be. That's just like the law of basketball. But the way that they're playing and the way that they're defending, I just legitimately can't find a good reason for it. They're struggling on the perimeter to keep guys in front of them, to keep teams out of the paint. They're not affecting, the game and causing turnovers, at the same rate. And teams are knocking down threes. I think somebody said like our last 3 games, teams were shooting like 50 of 78 or something crazy like that from behind the arc against us. That could be wrong. That's my, half-baked internet research there. But what we're seeing from the Magic is just not good. And then the 3-point shooting has been absolutely putrid. At least during that 9-game win streak, it was average. It was decent. It has just completely fallen off a cliff. We're officially like in the area of where like I'm not having fun right now. And I'm trying to pull this up right now. Last 10 games, see what our 3-point percentage is. Last 10 games shooting 34%, which isn't great.
Like,
still a little bit below average. But guess what? Like you shoot 34% in this game against Miami. Like you're in the game. You shoot 34%. In one of these, games against the Celtics, you might be in one of those games, but they can't make anything. We all knew it was going to be an issue, but this is just getting honestly really crazy.
This team isn't built to play from behind. First and foremost, you can't shoot the 3 ball. You can't shoot the 3 ball. So naturally, when you're down 18 at half, you absolutely would have to clamp up the second half, paired with shoot the lights out from the perimeter. That's how you have to come back in games. You can't. That's why when we're in your win streak, beginning of the year, one of the best first half teams in the league, right? That's why that was so important. This team is built to play with a lead. Not despite what the beginning told us with the third and fourth quarter net rating stuff. I don't think that is something that has really stuck to that point, especially that bad. So really, that's my thinking is you're not built to play from behind, and you got to have a great first half lead and play with the lead, because otherwise you're not catching up, because you're not going to be shooting enough threes. And the Heat are interesting. They shoot like the 19th most threes in the league, but they're just an example of low volume, high percentage. So super interesting, because tonight, when you're playing the Heat and they're shooting lights out, you feel like they're just hitting you with a barrage of threes. But then you look at the team stats and you're like, they only made 15 threes. They only shot 29. But it didn't matter because they hit 51%. So tonight really felt like they didn't have Jimmy Butler. The Heat are a team that really know their identity, while the Magic are still trying to figure it out, even though to us it doesn't seem like, from the outside looking in, the identity is clear. And we thought this team knew the identity. Defense, points in the paint, shoot free throws. Tonight, you do get to the paint, but you're not doing the other thing. You're not playing defense. You're not. I just don't think that it's smart to. There's no coaching scheme that allows the number 1 shooting percentage 3-point shooting team in the league to just shoot threes. Just give it to them. They're not the Magic. This team just wasn't. The rotations were awful. They've been awful. Guys not getting out quick enough. Like,
you mean the defensive rotations, not necessarily the
not like
substitutions.
Not substitution rotations. No, like rotating on defense, getting to the guy that's open, whatever, right? Rotating off help, all that kind of stuff. Like, they just aren't doing it, and it doesn't make sense. They were flying around. We had come to know that this team was going to fly around on defense there, but they were still going to be smart. They weren't out of control. They were staying in front of their man. Now it's just like, what happened? I don't know. I don't know if they're just like, I don't know, man. I really don't know.
So we talked earlier in the season about how great of a first half team the Magic were, for the first couple weeks, led the league in net rating in the first half. Luke, the last 10 games, the Magic are 27th in the league in first half net rating, minus 11.2. And last 10 games in the second half, they are fourth in net rating. Let me bring this up again here just to confirm that. Sorry, last 10 games, they're sixth in net rating with 10.1. So Jamal Mosley teams, we know that if they get down big, like they're going to make a push, they're going to make a run at some point. Tonight, it was just way too late for that push to come. But the last 10 games, they're just getting so far behind that they're not able to really like come back in these games. I'm looking through our losses here, Luke. Like the first loss of the season in LA to the Lakers, that was like a last second loss. But outside of that, like the Clippers loss was not close. The Dallas loss was not close. Atlanta was close. Both of the Brooklyn losses were not close. That first Cleveland game was not close. The last 3 games have not been close. So of the Magic's 10 losses this year, Luke, 2 of them have been like close losses. The other 8 losses have all been blowouts. That's not good. Like a loss is a loss. Like, they all count the same. But the fact that like if you just don't have it that night, you don't have anything at all is concerning. Yeah, it's becoming a trend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love that.
I'm looking around to see if like that's just like nights where like the other team shot the, for lack of a better term, piss out of the ball. I mean, it's checking out so far as I'm clicking down the losses. Brooklyn, when we lost by 20, they shot crazy from 3. Again, they shoot 41% the next time they beat you from 3. I just think that it's just hard when you're a team that can't shoot from the perimeter. It's hard to get back in the game when the other team is hitting their shots. Boston beat you 128 to 111, shoot 43% from 3. Yeah, you shot 40%, but Boston also shot 7 more than you, right? Higher volume, better percentage. It's better. They shot very well that night. So
in losses this year, Magic opponents are shooting 42.5% from behind the arc.
Yeah, makes sense. Checks out. You're just not. Yeah, unfortunately, you can kind of weather the storm if you can shoot threes, because you don't have to shoot crazy. But like if you're the Magic, let's say the Magic have actual shooters that can, do well shoot the ball well from 3. But you still have your identity of like, hey, we're going to pack, we're going to get to the paint. We're going to get paint touches. We're going to score in the paint.
In wins, Magic opponents are shooting 33% from behind the arc.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, that's not the only thing that is dictating Magic wins and losses, but it's like you guard the perimeter, you're winning. You don't, you're losing.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, some of these games, I'm sure it was just like teams can't miss.
But we've seen a few of those. But it also feels like when you give a team a few like wide open corner threes to start the game and you get a team's confidence going, you're helping them get there.
Yeah, and they're
helping them get into that zone where they're fine taking everything and making it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, it's not necessarily like the only reason that the Magic are winning or losing these games, but it's a huge factor. Like. It's not always going to be for other teams. Like I said, if you've got guys that can hit threes, knock down threes, they're going to be able to keep you in the game a lot of nights just by shooting an average amount because your volume's higher, percentage is higher. It's just simple math. And it's like if you have those guys that can kind of anchor the ship while you're playing great defense and also scoring in the paint, it's a great formula, obviously. But that's why that Magic fans just continue to beat the drum for shooting, and I don't know what the answer is, but I
In
think that it's
wins
that.
this year, the Magic are shooting 36% from behind the arc.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where they are in losses. In losses, they're shooting 30% from behind the arc. So still a big difference there, like 6%, but opponent shooting percent, like that's almost a 10% difference in 3-point percentage.
And I'm also willing to bet you're shooting more threes and losses too.
I can give you the exact number. So right now in losses, the Magic are shooting 32 threes a game.
Yeah.
And
wins is 29, 30.
No, it's not quite that low. In wins, the Magic are shooting 28 threes a game.
Yeah.
So again, not that big of a difference, but that lower volume, higher percentage thing definitely is checking out. Again, a lot of times it comes down to a make or miss league, but it's just like really frustrating when, like in losses, you can't make anything and you keep jacking them up, and you're not guarding the perimeter and letting teams get hot. Because like every one of those blowout wins, like that's what it's felt like. Like Dallas, I feel like Tim Hardaway Jr. had a big hand in what they were doing against us. Brooklyn obviously was a barrage of threes. Both times we lost to them. Cleveland, it was definitely a barrage of threes. Both Boston games, those guys couldn't miss. Tonight against Miami, those guys couldn't miss. LA, it was Paul George was going crazy in that third quarter. Like, it's just like, if you're having a good 3-point shooting night against the Magic, I mean, that's probably true across the league, right? If you're shooting well from behind the arc, you're going to win. But it's like, man, when things go wrong for the Magic this year, they're going really wrong.
They are. And one more thing to your point, like you said, the Magic in losses are shooting like 33 threes a game, something to that effect. And then in wins, they're shooting, did you say 28?
29, I think it was.
29. Just to provide some just context, Toronto shoots 33 threes a game. They shoot the 18th. Okay. Toronto shoots 33 threes a game. That's 18th in the league in volume. Detroit shoots 29. They are last. So just a few threes makes all the difference in this league in terms of how many you're attempting per game. If the Magic are shooting over 30 threes in a game, there's a good chance they lost that game. And I've seen it. It's something I've been looking at all season, game by game. If we lost, like that's how I knew that their Magic were at 28, 29 threes a game, because that's just consistently in the wins. Low volume, decent percentage, not great, but know in your lane. But whatever, man. It's ridiculous.
9 of 36 tonight. So it's like
crazy.
They're not only are they not going in, but you're compounding that by settling, by continuing to settle and trying to get that going. So hey, if you've made it this far in the podcast, newsflash: the Magic can't shoot, and they lose when other teams shoot good. That's this entire 57-ish minute podcast encapsulated in one statement right there. It's really that simple. Mm-hmm. And people are going to be like, well, duh. All right, Luke, to close the week, tonight you're in Milwaukee, and then Saturday you're in Indiana. Indiana's been struggling a little bit. I think they were 1-3 or 1-4 after the in-season tournament before they absolutely destroyed the Hornets tonight.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're not too much like back on track, but I'm not feeling great about the rest of the week here, especially for a defense that has really been struggling the last couple of weeks, and you're going up against Giannis and Dame and then Tyrese Halliburton. So
yeah,
the thing is, all of this can be fixed if they just get the defense back on track.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing has changed. You got better defensively with Wendell coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should be able to get right back to being the first, second, or third best defense in the league here. Just do it. Figure it out.
Please.
All right, Luke, I don't have anything else. Do you?
No, let's get out of here.
All right, let's wrap it up, folks. Again, we're right in the middle of our 6 days of Christmas, giving away some autographed Nikola Vucevic sneakers on Thursday. Be on the lookout for that. Next Six Fan Show coming up on Friday, December 29th versus the New York Knicks. And our next episode is going to be dropping Christmas Day. We're going to record that Saturday after the Pacers game, because we're not recording Christmas Eve and Christmas. We'll be with our families. You all will be with your families. If you don't listen to the episode on Christmas Day, you're dead to me, but I will also understand. So if you don't listen to the pod until next Tuesday, hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you guys in a couple of days here. Let's get some Magic wins. That is going to do it for this one. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to the Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!